Yes, much love and people respect, 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 for passing through again, yet again, we're here again. Bless up on yourself. Yeah, bless up on yourself. As we're going to do some reaction video of some big games that played today as well. Include, our boys, in the EFL Cup. Massive, massive goal, coming from a few reggae boy players as well. So, shout out to the Nick and Dan podcast, there. Shout out to Daniel as well. So we're back in the space. Trump card is back on top again. Football is finally back on our TV. Yeah, the big name brand, the Premier League. Yes, that's what a lot of people watch nowadays around this world of football at this moment. If it's not the World Cup, then it is the Premier League and the UEFA Champions League. There's no other league bigger, than that as well. The World Cup, the Premier League, and probably you can add the Champions League to it, but the Premier League is right up there, man. Arguably the biggest club league, around. But might disagree with me on some regards of it is the best or it's not the best, but yeah, we're there. Daniel, we're going in the space. Yeah, as you can see, the hot positive vibes coming from Daniel. Let's see what will happen on Monday in that West London derby. If he will wear that hat and say it's a positive vibe. But we're going to get into some reaction. Look, massive, massive game. This game that I watch 10 a.m. my time. Tyreece Campbell. This game was on my agenda. I want to see the players in the championship coming up against the Wolverhampton, the West Ham, these teams, the Burnley, these teams that's coming down for the championship. Then we can really gauge them and make a big assessment on where are their potential at this moment. How good is Tyreece Campbell? You get what I'm saying? How good is Bailey Kadama Theory? How good is some of the other players down into the lower tier whenever the Carabao Cup comes up? And also there will be another massive game coming up midweek as well, for Tyreece Campbell. The midweek he will play Tottenham Hotspur in the Carabao Cup. So we're going to shout out, to a few of the players and get into some discussion. Hopefully as well, you can get into the discussion down in the comment section as well. So we're going to, talk about, what is really going on, with some of the players. We're going to probably give some Premier League, reaction as well. And also there's a big, big article, that was put out there probably around over 24 hours or so, go around CONCACAF and UEFA saga, where there might be a merge coming soon, very soon, about the Nations League. Nothing about the other race of nations outside of the top two, the top two. I'm wondering if this is a peel away from CONCACAF and to merge with Europe big boys and then leave the rest in CONCACAF, to survive on their own and to farm their own league, or to just continue to participate in the regular, CONCACAF Gold Cup and so on, and the Nations League. But I think I have said enough. Yeah, I think I have said enough. But there's two things that I really want to say as well. The Bees stung Spurs earlier. The Tiger beaten United very hard. I mean, yeah. What says you, man, Daniel? What's around your 24-hour clock at this moment?
Yeah, I think last time we did a video, I think it was World Cup. Been a very long time. Good break. Special for me. I know you've been keeping updated with, especially with the transfer market for the most Jamaican players that's playing in overseas and stuff. But we're back here again. You get what I'm saying, to do some more discussion and just keep going. I think this is probably like should I say like 3 year in, I would say, since we started doing this podcast now. Like,
it's some quite a few years now, probably about 3 years now.
Yeah. So,
different phases, this different segments, of doing the podcast and stuff like that.
World Cup so far, so but we here as again, people, if you're checking in as again, I know
but you know what? What? Before we get into the players, really want to get into the article, right? With around the UEFA, and I read it on ESPN, I read it on Goal, I read it on different media outlet, yeah, talking about there is UEFA and CONCACAF set for Nations League shakeup as combined competition target for 2028. Before that, when the whole Infantino saga did happen, you hear about Infantino did promise Mexico a spot in CONMEBOL to play to be a member of CONMEBOL and not to be a member anymore of CONCACAF. Yeah, and now we see this where the two nations are the two confederations of CONCACAF and UEFA. We're seeing them heavily, having a lot of verbal communication around Infantino, not agreeing what he's doing, at this moment. But where you stand at this moment when you see the news broke out around 24 or 48 hours ago that listen, there might be a possibility of these two members might merge together with the Nations League going forward.
I just think FIFA again, with the nonsense of, I think, yes, this World Cup was a we would say this World Cup was a success, especially with the 48 teams, and we brought in so many more games. I think we all enjoyed this World Cup. I don't think anybody have any complaints about that, but we know more games was mainly because of more money, and everything FIFA does, it's all money driven. You get what I'm saying? It's like nothing is like, we're trying to build the game, we're trying to expand the game. It's always about money. So I think China, CONCACAF is all the way over this side and Europe is all the way over that side. I would love to see how do they make that work, because remember, you still have club football and players gonna be traveling. Can you imagine a player you travel, go to Jamaica to go do training session, then you travel go all the way back to Europe to go play a Nations League game. So it's just too much, and I just think that FIFA just need to rethink this decision and just continue doing let everything be as always is. Like I don't mind changes, but the changes that does not really make sense. I don't think this is one of the changes that makes sense for me from FIFA.
Yeah, to be honest, when me I read the article and me I skim through it and I look and the sentiment with them I share very closely, this more like Mexico and the US men's national team having an issue. Like no, the next 4 games will arguably be like, I think, I don't know which one of them, if I'm Mexico or the US, but one of them will be playing like Chile and Peru. And then I think October they'll be playing so US I think play 2 South American teams, and then in October they will play at Mexico and Canada. And it's more of them a eyeball Europe of trying to get or seeking a bigger challenge of having a Nations League. If it's so much of a problem, why not reshape and reformat the CONCACAF Nations League rather than take out 2 of the bigger teams, or the CONCACAF president himself trying to remove the 2 big fish of this region, shipping them over to a different region where they will merge with Europe. And I just cannot see how this will be beneficial, even for Europe. Mexico, US men's national team, none of these 2 teams are really a bigger team than the rest of the teams in Europe. If you look at the top 5, top 8 European teams, look where those teams finish in the last sets of the World Cups. Yeah, they finish way ahead than the US and Mexico. But there's one key thing in the article. Yeah, there's one key thing in the article I read on the commercial opportunity. Yeah, the commercial opportunity of this article. It says beyond the competitive benefit, the economic appeal of a merger is substantial. For UEFA, the key advantage lies in expanding its footprint across lucrative North American market. So why Gold Cup always play in the US, because of the US market, the TV rights, the stadiums, everything, the money driven are behind it. This is why you have countries like Costa Rica, you have countries like the US, they will really not host the entire tournament. they will probably get a few games in their country, just like the Reggae Boy get, a game in the national stadium. But
Yeah.
this is more like of a commercial driven thing of
Yes.
UEFA seeking more money of the North American market. Where does this leave Honduras, Costa Rica, Jamaica, even Canada? Not one time me see Canada name in around this article that I'm reading from. Yeah, not one time. And who responsible for this region? The Canadian slash the Italian, Mr. Victor. You get what I'm saying? So I say, who the hell really have pushed this? Is it coming from CONCACAF side or it's more coming from Europe side? And this just seems like Europe is trying to connect the dots for US and Mexico of giving them a bigger challenge. Why not reshape and reformat the CONCACAF Nations League? Something where, at least the Nations League will return next month. Why not involve them with it? Why not just involve? Why they have to be the top 4 team will be seeded, and then the other rest of the teams have to go through a qualification round to get into the knockout round to play those seeded teams. That's the thing I don't really understand with the whole CONCACAF thing. Like everything is like the US, Mexico, the top ranks, top 4 always seeded by themselves and get a buy-in to the next round.
You know what I know? I was thinking. I think that maybe because of the success of the World Cup and the amount of money that the FIFA make, I think they realize that there's a massive commercial support over this area, especially in Mexico and US. So I think they realize that this is a way for them can take advantage of more, trying to make more, and what they say, drill the cow. You get what I'm saying? Just strain the cow more and more. So I think FIFA realized that damn, there's a big commercial market over here for football. Even though we will say football is soccer, they will call it in America, is not the first sport. So I think that they probably go back and look back and say, yo, that World Cup is a success. So I feel like they trying to, because they're not gonna go nowhere, no other continent and try to do this. So they realize that there's a massive commercial support over this area. So I think that's where they're targeting. That's why they're coming here and don't really busy about the small nation.
You know what would be a success of CONCACAF merge with a particular member? I would love to see a merge with CONCACAF and CONMEBOL do more body of work together. All right. South America, they don't play Nations League. Yeah? South Americans, they don't play Nations League. Why not involve the South American teams to come and merge and have the US are the top 4 ranked team in CONCACAF, remove the seeded section, yeah, and let everyone combine and we play a Nations League. You will have League A, you'll have League B, just like they're doing at this moment. And combine CONMEBOL because it is the same Americas region. You get what I say? And look, it will drive commercial revenue as well. Brazil, Argentina. You cannot get any bigger than that. You cannot get it any bigger than that in this region. When it comes on to commercial driven with Argentina, the Colombian, the fans, they will bring that little that passionate in around the stadium, the atmosphere, it will be there. And if you want to say, all right, cool. If you want it to be host in the US, fine. But I would love it to be where CONCACAF teams traveling away to play CONMEBOL teams in the Nations League. That would be probably a more suitable way of really expand, having US, Mexico getting bigger games. Obviously, I'm saying that, okay, fine, they are the most successful team in this region, in CONCACAF. But what about the other teams? And it's not really even about Jamaica itself. But what about the rest of the teams in this? How will they survive as well? What will happen?
Yeah, I think you are 100% correct. I think the best way to do it is just basically combine the South American team. You know, we did it when in the South America Cup multiple times where they invited the CONCACAF teams. I think that is a lot more easier to do than trying to go all the way to Europe. You get what I'm saying? I just don't, and I would love to hear what the European Union and the UEFA how do they feel about that, because I feel like sometimes I feel like UEFA and FIFA is not really on the same page. You know what I'm saying? I think they do their stuff. I know they run under the same umbrella, but they kind of do their stuff a little bit different. You get me? So I don't know. I don't.
Yeah, I mean, look, I am really not supporting, this UEFA, this CONCACAF thing of merging. The US are in this region. How is it that you have country like, okay, Australia and New Zealand are way down there in the bottom part of the world? They're not really having too much issue of they are not having the bigger games. You locate geographically, you locate in this region, he's a part of this member, then rock with it. Find different ways on how you can play games. That's all I'm saying. CONMEBOL is right there, and I think that is the perfect solution. Of going forward with this whole CONCACAF and UEFA trying to, seems like they just want to pick the two teams out of the region, yeah, US and Mexico, and have them playing the Nations League. Because reading the article, you hear about how much teams beyond that will enter or will have the opportunity to play against European teams. Hear it, I read it not one time in the articles. So what I tell you say, they don't really give a damn about the rest of the teams in around this region. It's all commercial driven. And he said the World Cup was a huge success. I mean, they know that the US market is a big market when it comes on to the sports, when it comes on to TV. Look at the Anthony and Joshua fight, and I think Tyson Fury. Yeah, the English are furious at this moment that the boxing game might go on to be in the MSG or the Madison Square Garden. Why not have it played in England when you have such huge English audience that support these two boxers? So it's just that the US market is a huge market, and it's big for TV revenues. We all know that, but we're going to get into some of the meat of the matter at this moment. So the big game, which was on TV, was watching it, very, very hold on. Okay. Yes, I was very watching it keenly. Yeah, I was very watching it keenly, and I was want to see what Amari Bell will come up against Jared Bowen, yeah, and Tyreece Campbell, whether he's going to play on the left, whether he's going to play on the right. West Ham team isn't a good team at this moment. We all know what is happening to them. The cracks are just opening deeper and deeper with West Ham team. But regardless of what is happening with West Ham team, they're coming from the Premier League. Tyreece Campbell, second season in the championship, looking at it where 3 from 3 at this moment, yeah, scored in the last 2 league games and scored in the Carabao Cup as well. And have another big game coming up versus Tottenham Hotspur. So there's back-to-back London derby coming up for Charlton Athletic. These are the games you want to see a reggae boy player playing in the championship against a relegated Premier League team coming into the championship.
Yeah, I think Tyreece Campbell played 90 minutes. I know he only got one shot today, but he was doing a lot of recovery in the game. He create just one chances, never really try to create too many chances and stuff, but he do a lot of recovery in the game. You have 31 touches and stuff like that. So pretty much West Ham was having them on the back foot. The game one day they have a lot of ball, but you can see that physically he was there in the game and getting forward, and he take his chance when he got it. You get what I'm saying? But what I want to see from him is consistency. Because the last time I saw him play for Jamaica, it was that game against Congo in the do I die game. versus Congo before the World Cup. But consistency, that's what I want to see from him this season going forward in the championship, because I think Charlton Athletic have been on the up. You know, they was in a couple years ago, they were in League Two,
League One.
the League One, and they consistent. You know, I know when what's his name, Kadim Dixon was there. You know, from then time they were starting to really start to look into Charlton Athletic as a team. And you know, I remember watching Chelsea play them last season in a FA Cup game, and you know he was doing his thing, but never really get into the game. But for me, I want to see him a little bit be more consistent. Like today, score a goal in the top. I'm not really going to expect too much from the Tottenham game because Tottenham coming off a loss, so they're going to want to react. But in the championship, I want to see him getting on an assist. I don't expect him to score every week, but at least assists. You get what I'm saying? Creating chances and stuff like that. But so far, good. You know, doing good so far. Can't complain.
Yeah. Looking at it, entire season, you know, in our competition, 46 game, 3 goals and 2 assists, 25-26 season already with 3 goals, you know, from 3 games. This was a player probably less than 3 weeks ago, you know, linked heavily with Preston North and, you know, a team that have a lot of ambition, want to get up into the championship table. But going into his last phase of his contract, the team already, you know, exercise, you know, looking forward to make that official as get it out there that, you know, he will be a long-term player, you know, for this football club. So I'm very much, you know, on his side that hopefully this is the breakout season, you know, whereas I think having double-digit scores maybe can add that a bit more, like close to double-digit figures in the assist corner as well. But with him getting off the mark so early, you know, in 3 successive games, this is the next level. You know, you hope that this player can lead, because look, I believe that looking at the wingers around, you know, the REGGAE BOYZ team, even look at the notable 2 newly players that made their debut, you know, recently, you know, versus New Caledonia, Efran and also Andre. I think Tyreece all have suffered a bit of a disrespect, you know, in a way where, you know, people don't really give him, you know, the ideal respect of praise him, you know, especially his work off the ball as well. You know, the national team coach, you know, speak highly, you know, about him in terms of his energy and how much, you know, he is a two-way, you know, winger and stuff like that. But I believe that, you know, we should be looking more of giving this player, you know, a lot more credit, because I start to realize that this player have something about him where it will maybe take a level or 2 or a special coach to unlock the next level of where Tyreece Campbell can really go at this moment. And I believe that with him continue, you know, to play in the championship, sooner or later, if he's going to start to hit certain ceilings, he needs to remove himself and get a move where it would be beneficial to his career, because it shows in the championship, you know, seasons after season, the best players tend to stay down there, you know, financially. It's very good. It's the most probably successful second tier football in the entire world, with the money, the TV rights, everything that's involved with it, the infrastructure, everything. It might not be the best playing second tier football in the world. You know, you can add the Bundesliga too with that as well. But saying that, you know, with Tyreece Campbell, looking at it, at some given point, he's going to need another challenge, another direction to help his career, you know, to lift to the next standard. And I believe that if Charlton Athletic will remain in the championship, then there will be another move. But looking at it now, I don't know what this coach is doing, but this coach is doing something special. Last campaign, they get off the mark. They were right up into the top 6 in the first 3 months of the championship season. Tyreece Campbell, you know, he was playing a lot of left wing back. Daniel Tarky, you know, I think it was a FA Cup game where they played Chelsea. He was playing left wing back. He was literally playing left wing back, and the fans of Charlton crucify him at times that, you know, they are not getting enough end product. They're not seeing enough from him. But if you have the guy playing on the wide right, playing as a supposed striker, playing as a left winger, playing as a left wing back, if you have him dilly-dally all around, how he's going to master and nail down that left side. And I believe that he is a very intelligent player. Yeah, I believe that he's a very intelligent player and he's one of the best
Yeah.
winger we have. But I just tend to see maybe don't get the respect that he deserves. And when you look at how his selection around the national team, I don't think he has given a fairly decent chance. If you look at Kaheem Dixon getting games, yeah, for the national team, playing a lower tier, cannot get nowhere near the same senior team setup. But this guy is playing minutes after minutes. I may have to be sitting on the bench and not given that opportunity who are playing a bigger and a higher level than a previous player. Not saying playing at a lower level and a higher level that really will separate a player, but you have to give that player a chance, especially looking what is happening. The team promoted from League One to the championship, and he's still a main starter in the team. What does that say?
I think
That's
I
it.
think No, I was gonna say that I think the reason why he doesn't really get a lot of hyped up on others think that his numbers have not been too impressive, especially if you look at last season. As you said, he played 46 games, scored 3 goals and only 2 assists. 46 games. I know he's just 20, 22 years old, still
Yeah,
young. You know what I'm saying, still learning his trade as he go. But I feel like this season is the season for him, 3-3 so far. So I think this season where he can basically probably stamp his name in a Jamaican starting like when Jamaica call up on the team, he should be one of the first name on the team sheet. You get what I'm saying? So I just think that maybe over the last couple of season, season before last 53 games, 9 goal, 1 assist. You get what I'm saying? So I just think the numbers need to be a little bit more consistent. You get me? So I just feel
yeah,
like it should be his breakthrough season, and also if he can have a decent, very decent season, like at least one of those numbers, one of it, the assists or the goal can be double figures, and able to push Charlton Athletic in a day around the playoff, and even try to get in the Premier League, because I think there's a chance there. They're above the level of the Premier League. You get what I'm saying? So why would he want to move right now? You get me? So you
yeah,
just have to, as I said, it's consistent is the key for him going forward. You get me?
yeah. And if you look at 2 campaign ago, he just I think the campaign started when the last season that they played in League One, right? I think he started the campaign when he was 19, and he was arguably one of our top 3 best attacking player, and he scored 9 goals. Yeah, he grabbed 9 goals in that season. That was 24-25 campaign. He grabbed 9 goals, and he could have easily go on to score double digits goal. In his career during that time, but miss opportunity. Makes a lot of mistakes. He was a young lad at the time. Still learning, and just looking at the aspect of him from he get into this team, he barely gets out. That is the frustrated part of why coaches who come and coach the Reggae Boys team doesn't really see this player as a highly starting player for the national team in big games, because he's fit, he barely get injured, he's always available, he's a very intelligent player, he's a two-way winger, yeah, and he is a flexible player that can be utilized and shift around different formation, different tactics. If you need a little bit of an in-game management, if the game is not working in a 4-3-3, 4-2-3-1, or a 4-4-2, he easily can be flexed around and change until you can make a drastic change during the halftime break. So he is that player that where he understands different roles and details in different positions. So that's what I'm saying. Where going forward, we should start to see this player featured more and more, and give him the opportunity to excel and build the right pieces and help the people that can really function, alongside him up in that top third of the Reggae Boys team. Yeah, I believe this player, is probably our second or could easily be our best winger, at this moment. But the end product and the productivity of the national team, he what this says Sukma be saying, Tyreece Campbell played just around over 10 games, for the national team. Yeah, this ain't just around over 10, and that is so little of the amount of times, this player, came, he accept the challenge and accept the selection, and he's here every time he gets a call up. And he commit to the national team at a very young age. So let's see, what will happen, with this player. But me hope that at this time, Charlton can really crack the code in the championship and go on a momentum run and give themselves a best fighting chance. I believe them recruit well. They made a lot of positive signing, and the game that they played versus West Ham, yeah, they sit back. West Ham going to get, a lot of the possession, at London Stadium, that's going to happen. But they didn't really just sit low block and just not want to attack. When they get the ball, they were pressing, they were a bit physical, they were bringing the game to West Ham. And Tyreece Campbell is the weapon of Charlton, where he's one of the pressing machine. He was one of the pressing when Leaborn won that ball, Tyreece all on it right away. Yeah, and that little snapshot of him getting that curling shot from the left-hand side, curling into the far corner of the left-hand side of the goalkeeper, that is bread and butter. And may I say, you see like how you see Tyreece Campbell have that little curling shot like a Thierry Henry, at the Ivory during his A game. If Dixon can have that piece of a jigsaw to his game, let me tell you, man, he will continue to score even more goals. The player have a perfect shot. He have a nice finish about him, where in the close quarter of the game, where it's very tight in between defenders, he some way can find himself wiggle out of those little, where he would come out on the end of the ball of beating one, beating two, or beating three of a defender. So he's a very good dribbler of the ball. So I mean, let's see, how he will have, success, further down into the championship, run. And the more this team stay in the championship, I believe he will only get better. And that's why I was hoping that the team doesn't, get relegated, and continue to play in the championship, where it will give him more and more, competitive games, higher stakes game, and play the teams that are dropping down from the Premier League. And see there, let's see. But I'm not sure how much he will get game coming up in the next fixture on Wednesday versus Tottenham. Might see a rotation and rest him a bit, but we never know. We never know what will happen. He played and started in the first Carabao Cup game. Let's see if he will continue that same run for the next run as well for Charlton Athletic. I want to say this. I want to read this out as well. There was an article, I want to get in. But you have anything you want to say, and then we can move on.
Oh no, I think we already said a lot about Tyreece. I think as someone said in the comment section, I think definitely Tyreece Campbell at the best wing only Brooks can compete, not even Mason Clark. So that's Edwards said that that's a massive statement from Edwards, putting Tyreece all that above Mason Clark, who have a brilliant season last season for Commonwealth. But we will see. I think, as I said, for me, with him, consistency is the key. Especially with the numbers.
Yeah, I think he's probably, if not one of our best winger, is probably in that top 2, top 3 best winger, for selection for the national team as well. Really appreciate everyone in the comment section. Ronnie M90, big up yourself. As usual, last season was the first in the championship. Yeah, and I believe that as a young player, being at the club around 8-9 years old, there's always going to be that pressure, that extended pressure on his shoulder. Can he really, consume all those critique and put it as a positive, and make his game a lot better? But we always expect, when you're first in a higher division, there's tend to be a bit of a struggle, and I believe that the coach didn't really help him as well that much. Yeah, when you putting a young player all around on the football pitch, you're not helping him to get the end product. Look, no one will remember that Tyreece Campbell was playing left wing back in that Chelsea game. But you know what they will remember? They will look at his goals and they will look at his assists and match it up to the games that he starred in for Charlton and said that, it's not good enough. But they will not remember the games that he played out of position, play in a more of a defensive role, asked to do a lot of tracking back. And at times, to get your body up into the other side of the box, very difficult as well. Campbell reminds me of Bobby Reed, Fulham playing at right wing. I think he probably can go back to the Bristol City days of Bobby Reed playing as a Bristol City player at Ashton Road as well. Watch out
Ronnie,
this season.
Ronnie, we not a lot. Mason Clark in the EPL now, but the boy Alani, we don't know about the last part there. I swear. We don't know about the last
Yeah,
part.
Dixon. Wait. What do you think about Dixon playing over Campbell? Was favoritism for Jamaican born player? You have a shout for that?
I think Dixon, as much as Dixon is not too much of an experienced player, I think Dixon have been very much they know about the Jamaica team, and I think for him, I think he have the edge over Campbell. I think Dixon have a lot more experience in the Jamaica team. I think he's been around the team a lot more, and I think he understands, especially with the setup we already have and the players there. So I think Dixon, for me, I would have still start Dixon over him first. You get me? Because I think when I first started Campbell was kind of a little timid, and you get what I'm saying? He's just never dwelling good. You get me? So I still would have went with Dixon at first. You get me? But I feel like right now I'll still have Dixon edge over Campbell right now. You get me? Because I just feel like Dixon just have that know about him more than Campbell right now. But that can change going forward later on in the campaign still.
Oh, I mean that's a big shout, for you. Still have Campbell at this moment, behind Dixon. I think with that comment, from you, I think the fans will start to come at you in a fair bit from now. Conrad, big up yourself. They also call up Ming over Gray. That's hey, Jamaican football is a different cameo. It is a different cameo, believe it. Yeah, Campbell are the best winger. Only Brooks can compete, not even Mason Clark. Whoa, Edwards, that's a massive one, because I think that Mason Clark shows a lot of potential, that this quality and this potential can even get better, by playing in the Premier League against better wingers, even better defenders, coming up against better coaches that will try to, remove you, from the game, eradicate you from the game, try to mark you out from the game, set traps for you as well, put 2-3 defenders, and so I think his game will get better. I think if he stays healthy, we will see a very good Clark in the Premier League. We just hope that he really bounce back from that little discomfort, muscle injury, to get back fit and sharp again, because he's a strong player. He's used up a lot of strength. He's a very explosive player as well, so he needs to be at 100%. And I think coming up on Tuesday, I think they play Tuesday versus a League One team in the Carabao Cup. Look out for Joe Latibody. He will definitely get some minutes. Should get some minutes. A League One team see Frank Lampard make a bit of a rotation, and not too much. And then from there, they will play Hull City at home. So that will even be a very good game of playing Hull City at home as Coventry. They wants to win that game, because they will look at Hull City as a team that was behind them in the Championship. But when it comes up to the Premier League, look at Ipswich beating Sunderland. Sunderland is a team, was having the best of Ipswich in the lower tier. So it's doesn't really prove at times that the newly promoted team, who came out on top in the championship, will always get the better of the teams below them that get promoted with them as well. So let's move on from that. There are a lot of potential young attackers. The Lisbon brothers seems promising to you. I'm keeping a very close tab on those names as well. The Lisbon brothers, yeah. Miles Spirit Harris is another interested one. So that player as well is very close on my radar. Just keep watching them and see how much they are developing at this moment. Mason Clark is in the EPL now. Also, do not count out Bailey yet. Yes, do not count him out.
Yo,
Why aren't
yo,
we going after J?
watch that before you move on. You really said the man them come attack me. Watch that man beat me about Dixon.
Many tell us the man gonna attack you, brother. That is a big statement. Hold on. I'm gonna get you, some of these, and also do not forget about Gray. Yeah, Gray. I think that, look, my expectation around DemaraiGr is a bit stall at this moment. Yeah, why? DemaraiGr have so many years in the Premier League, dropping down into the Championship. And me need for that season, me need for see double digits goal from DemaraiGr. Me need for see double digits goal from DemaraiGr. Gray been playing since a decade and some change of years now in this game. And we yet to really see a guns out campaign for DemaraiGr. Me still rate the player. Me still think him have quality. And me still feel you can play to him advantage and get the best out of him and use him as a team player. Yeah, but going forward at this moment, to be honest, I believe DemaraiGr is not that ideal starter that will be coming up in the big games month after month every time when there's an international break. I'm not seeing DemaraiGr as that player should be an ideal starter. Yeah, I see Tyreece Campbell is giving a big shout. He deserved that little run in the team. I will see how in playing at the Congo game. He was doing a lot off the ball. And at times, when he get on the ball, I think it was in the second half, he started to push back his wing back as well. I think it was Aaron Wan-Bissaka. So it tells you have some very good qualities about him. And I believe that he's fighting right up there should be the ones that again, start week and week out whenever there's international break as well. So you want to defend yourself? Let's start the conversation.
Yeah, I was saying that for the people that think that I'm saying that Dixon is better than Tyreece Campbell, I'm not saying that Dixon is better than Tyreece. I said in the picking order as far as he know about the Jamaican team already, and he have a lot more experience because he's been playing a lot more and he understand and he is a little bit more familiar with the players. You get what I'm saying? So and also when I saw Tyreece Campbell playing for Jamaica, he have not done anything. You get me? And don't give me this that he might play better football now than Dixon. Playing for your club football is a different pressure when you come for play for your national team. We see players that come play for the national team crumble. Like what's his name that play for that play in the championship now, that play for Luton, what's his name? Casey Palmer. Is he Casey Palmer?
League One, yeah, League One.
Yeah. Casey Palmer, when Casey Palmer first came, I have never read Casey Palmer. Like Casey Palmer was horrible, and he was one of the best Jamaica performers in England. You get what I'm saying? He never performed. You guys want me to give you another example? Liam Bailey, even at that outstanding season that he was having at Aston Villa, never performed for Jamaica. You get what I'm saying? So you have to be careful when you're judging these players and their what they're doing at their club. Does not mean that they're going to come and do the same at the international level, because there's the football a little bit different. You're playing you're playing in different environments. You're playing against different players. And it's not that easy to play in the CONCACAF. You get what I'm saying? Going away to Honduras, going away to even Trinidad. You get me? The feel, the grass, the atmosphere is a little bit different. So, what's his name? Kadeem Dixon is used to that climate. He used to those environment. He used to those tough environment. You get what I'm saying? So in that order, he is ahead of Tyreece Campbell for me.
Yeah. I think me will go against you the opposite side. So I will disagree, with you, at this moment. But I really do understand where you say, yo, Dixon when in play, cause Dixie is so much of an energetic player. Still a bit raw. Still have a lot to prove. But Dixie show glimpse. You get that, and I believe that maybe for the 1 or 2 games, maybe that was the better decision at the time. But I believe that it just couldn't continue. It couldn't continue without even give the player opportunity because we see so many games where Dixon, look, as a Jamaican, when you run up and down on the pitch, he's a live wire, energetic player, you run all about and you being there. It maybe can come off in a wrong way that you're doing something on the pitch, but there is more to the game on the pitch. Me and you know that. There's more to the game. There's other ways where the tactical intelligence part of the game that's really needed. Yeah, that's really needed. And I believe that even probably, after like Dixie starting 3, 4, 5 games over Tyreece, I came to realization at that time that listen, Tyreece Campbell is a player that more coachable than Dixie, where if you give him the time and the patience at that time, you probably would have seen more of him. Yeah, Dixon play with his friends, like Nicholson, Cephas, but I'm saying it should be where consistently Dixon was getting the start over Tyreece, because it shows that at that level he was just not ready to really play consistent. And Dixon shouldn't be a player back then be playing on a regular. He should be probably sit himself on the bench and allow better players at times. There's going to be games where Dixon, you can give him that nod over Tyreece Campbell if you believe that game is the ideal game for Dixon. Just like they roll out the jungle tree in that Bermuda game when we smashed them 4-0 in the National Stadium. That same game that Whisper made some massive skills, in that game. So I'm just saying, at this point, or even beyond further, I think Tyreece Campbell is the one that should be getting the games. I love Dixon. I don't want to add if he's a Jamaican born or who is a heritage player. I'm looking at it where, through the lens of my eyes, both players are Jamaican. I'm strongly believe that even up to today at this moment, that Tyreece Campbell is the one should be getting the nod at this moment. Dixie get him opportunity. How many goals Dixie scored? Dixie have not really given us that goal in the most important games. Look at when certain players, really start to perform in the least more competitive game than when we really need them in the bigger game. In the bigger game, there's quite a few players that you can count on your one and that really come up big for the Reggae Boys.
So let me say this. So are we just judging Tyreece Campbell after the season is before we start the season in 3 games? Is that we are judging Tyreece Campbell off already?
I've getting the nod over Dixon.
Yeah.
Yeah, one, because farm is something that it should have continuity, and you should be grant as well of what you're doing at your club level, but that should be right down on why you're going to get started over that player. I believe that looking at it, if we are going to play a team maybe like a Panama, let's say a Panama, one of the most hard-running team in Central America, I think Tyreece Campbell is that player to start in that game. I strongly believe so, because physically, he can match up to it, with the pace and longevity in the game. He's a much fitter player. And it not take boy for play nearly 200 game, or probably 200 game combined when play at the youth level, senior level, and an international level. That is a level of experience. That is not something where you can go to the corner store and buy. So I believe that it's not just down to Wayma do at Charlton. No. I believe that That should be a part of it. And also you look on the opposition team that you're going to play.
Yeah.
But for me, I wouldn't be mad with Tyreece Campbell getting in that, which I think at this moment is the better decision to me.
Well, let's see. Let's see. I think we're putting a lot of high expectation on Tyreece Campbell. So I hope when him come, I mean, end of the day, it's benefit with Jamaica. Me not say I want him to come and don't perform. You know, I want him to come and perform. But as I said, for me, starting in this show, consistency is the key. You get me? Like you can start the season good, and then you fall off. You get me? But
Yeah.
for him, for us, because end of the day, if him having a good season, it's gonna benefit Jamaica because him
Yeah.
come here and perform good. So let's see. As me say, it's just consistency, but we will see.
I mean, look, it's a different Dixon now. This is not the Dixon that was playing under 21 at Charlton. This is a different Dixon that we might see, maybe start to transform, later down into the campaign in Serbia. We can see a lot more from him.
One thing I do realize with Jamaican people who watch football, just because I said I have Dixon over Campbell does not mean you guys need to say, yo, Dixon already, Dixon are garbage, Dixon are good. Like it's just an opinion thinking that, yo, I think this player is above the player. Like, don't prop up another player and say, yo, this player is garbage, this player is not good. Like, come on. Like, I always do that. Like, we can't have a regular conversation and say, okay, I think this. When I say Dixon is better than Kadim Dixon, I think you not get the information wrong. I'm not saying Dixon is better than him. You get me? I'm giving us so many examples why we not him over them. No, you get me? I'm not saying no even say yo Dixon are garbage, Dixon are ready. You see me I say? But me already explain myself.
All right.
Working at the video
and
over that dog.
The Cephas thing where Cephas is a player that it will pop up in certain game. Just like if you're going to play Cephas in a team where the opposition team going to be a very low block team, like for instance, the Daesh ball, very low block. Who you think you really want to start in that game? You really don't want to go into that game where the tactical part of the game, Cephas is not really aware of how to break down a low block team at times. He can struggle. So even him who was highly our most impactful player in the qualifiers, Cephas shouldn't start certain games because certain games the man them are gonna nullify him. Yeah, the man them are gonna nullify him. You see that game where we play down at Trinidad, and I don't remember if it was him make a dribble, but I don't remember who scored. If it was Cephas, I think it was Cephas scored down there. That game, Trinidad was coming right at us, so there would always be room and space behind. Next game, I think it was probably the Nations League, when Grimmy was here, who played that game. I think it was Arlington. If you look at, some of those games, those teams will come at us and leave a lot of room. So in that situation and scenario, Cephas coming up against a Mexico in the Azteca, I would start Cephas. I would start, a player like Tyreece Campbell, the player them who have pace and energy. Yeah, I would start those players because guess what? With playing in Azteca, it's a very emotional stadium for Mexico. The fans will come at you. The players will ride out for those momentum. So in situation like that, I believe that Cephas would have been the perfect player, to start with him with his 1v1 at times, with even pairing up with a Tyreece Campbell or a Mason Clark, on the wing. As I say, you see them high quality game there where you think you need the pace and a bit of a decisiveness, getting and unlocking the defensive third. I think that it's a very good move, of getting players in that caliber of that skill set, 1v1, isolated them in those games. So I just think that is one of my way of picking some of your players in different international games. You get what I'm saying? So um we're going to move on, from that whole Dixon thing. Yeah, we're going to move on from that whole Dixon thing. So the game, I was, you was watching it as well. Demi, came off the bench. I think him, really, helped to shift a bit of a momentum, towards Birmingham because I think, they were so poor. Yeah, they were so poor in that midfield, in that final third. The wingers, I mean, Vincente, I don't know what he was doing out on that left hand side at times in the game, but you could see early out in the second half, substitution, for Birmingham City. But I was a little bit furious with DemaraiGr when I was watching it because of how much time like I said DemaraiGr pick up the ball, I receive the ball, and tend to drift inside and play it back, or play a square pass. Not one time, me see DemaraiGr really pick up the ball and seems like he really want to dribble and bring his attacking purse to that team, his skill set, and try to break down the team. I mean, where you stand, with DemaraiGr performance, yes, fully confidence have step up and take that penalty in the last minute to grab his team a point. But with his little what he got on the pitch in around half hour, what was your eyesight seeing at that time?
Yeah, as much as you're saying that when he have the ball, he pass by the ball and stuff, but he have the giant most dribble, which is just two in that 28 minutes he was on that field. So even though he was kind of be timid a little bit, but he
Yeah,
have the most dribbling on the field, and also got that goal. 24 touches on the field also. One corner was disposed one time with the ball. You get me? So I think with DemaraiGr, I think with him over the last couple of years, they have been a letdown with himself. I know he's a confident player, and if he's on it, he's on it. And I think coming off the bench today, because when I look at this game, I saw him on the bench. Coming off the bench today, and have a pretty decent game over the winger that was playing for him, that wasn't having the both wingers them that was
yeah,
playing didn't have a good game. So for him to come off the bench and after the couple seasons he have, it's a boost for him. It's a confident boost for him. So I hope he can take this. 30 years old now as a winger. I always tell people when they reach that 30-year-old as a winger, you're gonna have to switch up a game. Sometimes you play as a midfielder at number 8, at number 10. You get what I'm saying? So I think he's gonna have to switch up his game a little bit because I don't think he have that burst of pace anymore to get past player like what he used to when he was at Leverkusen, Everton. I get what I'm saying. So I'm really gonna watch out for DemaraiGr, and I'd love for him to come back in the setup because I feel like he should have been in that match when we play Congo to get to the qualifier, but some after field issue with him and the backroom staff and what's going on. But let's see. He's another winger that's there. I think we have a lots of wingers. I think we're never short of wingers, but let's see. I hope he can keep it up.
yeah. Hope he can really keep it up. But look, when it was Vicente, was playing out on that right side, and Stanisfield, usually played in a number 10 role, and then, the Asian player Paul, he came off and Vicente came off as well. And I think it was a double substitution where it allowed DemaraiGr and the other player. It was, I think it was, Roberts. Yeah, it was Patrick Robert as well that came on with DemaraiGr. Two old-fashioned winger. But I'm just saying, Daniel, like, looking at it, I think he had a very decent preseason. Yeah, and I really love that, about him. He is massively on a high salary.
Go on talk here. Go on talk. Suko.
He is on a massive salary, at Birmingham City, looking at it, where he's massively a part of this project to help to parachute this Birmingham team into the Premier League. And if you look at the infrastructure that they want to build around the team, this is one of the reasons why, yeah, they get back DemaraiGr and pay him, heavily as one of the top earners in around the club. And I just believe that it's not be a success as yet. Yes, last campaign he started out like a house on fire, yeah, but never really continue that longevity going from November into the December of the more one of, not the most, but one of the most pack fixtures of month, into even the Christmas, where I think he picked up a I don't remember if it was he picked up a arm injury somewhere around his elbow, and then he picked up a calf injury where leave him, quite a few, weeks, on the touchline as well. So I'm saying if he can stay fit and continue to do what he did last campaign, from August until like October, I believe that the team will have a very good shot of push towards those playoff spots. Now when you look at it, top two automatically go, and then from third spot to eighth will get into some playoff qualification round to get yourself into the Premier League. So I think that with him at this moment, I think it's not been a success, and I can be over the top at times, but just looking at it, what should be DemaraiGr's main job? How many of the players in this Birmingham team, have the experience or have that level of playing in the Premier League, being on a Premier League championship team, playing on around players like, the Jamie Vardy, the Riyad Mahrez, players like that, very good wingers that go on to have very good, successful career in the Premier League, How is it that DemaraiGr came back from Al Ettifaq in the Saudi Pro League and cannot really navigate himself at least 80% of consistency in his game? I think he has been poor. He started out very well. You have to credit him for that. But for someone with him experience at his age, he should know how to shake off some injury. And I just think that he believes at times that his work rate shouldn't be high on the pitch. Yeah, he's a player that can have massive character, but he's not doing the extra work on the pitch. You might doing it off the pitch, you might get in extras in the gym, but your performances is just not speaking for itself. And I say it already, and I'm gonna say it again. Look on any football scoring app. DemaraiGr have never scored double digits goal. How is that possible? How is that possible as a player that have the experience in England and out of England and international level, and he cannot produce? I don't know. There's something wrong with these players when it comes on to the midway part of a campaign going into the back end part. They just cannot give you a good slate of percentage of consistency for their club team. And I'm not having it. I'm not having it. I'm not having it. When he came, just like, he was fresh for the REGGAE BOYZ team, he was arguably our best player. I think it was 2023. He was arguably our best player with around 15 games in around 18 months for the REGGAE BOYZ team, and probably 8 goals, 5 assists. He was our best player. He was showing up, Lay and Bale at the times. What happened? What happened after that? Complacency? I don't know. I really don't know. So it's really mind-baffling at times to see how this player is conducting himself in the second phase of a campaign. But I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. Yeah, I am going to give him the benefit of the doubt for this campaign, because, look, I'm telling you, if this campaign doesn't work out, where, 1, he doesn't have numbers, 2, Birmingham City cannot make a playoff even when they give them an extra 2 spot in the championship, or through the EFL pyramid of 2 extra teams that will make it into the playoff. Yeah, let's see if him can help, because he's one of these marquee players that should be helping this team, parachuting them into the playoff and challenge deeply, go right down to the end, right into the playoff or get close as possible to the top two in the championship. That's all I really have to say. Yeah, and I'm really disappointed with
One thing,
DemaraiGr over the last 2 years. Really disappointed.
yeah, I was a beating with that one day with the 2 goals. Yeah, I was a beating with that one day. Same
I
never score
mean,
two goal. Then
the
put that
dub. No, I mean, like, no, but no. Look at it though. DemaraiGr played. He came to Leicester 2015-16, right? Fine. He was a young lad coming from Birmingham. The next campaign, you play 30 games in the Premier League and only score 1 and 3 assists. You're still very young. You go on to play 30 plus more games, 3 goals, 1 assist. But bro, as a player, you have to give yourself that room to improve further and further. As an individual, you have to be a little bit more determined. Sometimes DemaraiGr demeanor on the pitch doesn't show that he's putting in the extra yards on the pitch, because I don't know what is happening, off the pitch, but on the pitch, in character can be a little bit wrong, where his demeanor seems like he's not bothered of not having a good game or having a good game. That is just me, where his demeanor at times. And Leicester City team at that time was getting themselves, close, in around, midway, table in the Premier League, challenging for, Europe at one point. You get what me I say? So all me I say is, in play around very good players, in playing very good team. You went to Everton, one of the longest team that came in the Premier League and never went back down for such a long time. Very good club, massive club. You're playing a Bayer Leverkusen, it just never work out. You go to Saudi Arabia for whatever reason, it just never work out. So you came back to Birmingham, where you should be in a more comfort zone. You want this challenge. You want to help your club. Casey Palmer went closer to home with Luton Town and improved that. Yes, dropping down into a lower tier league, it shows you that I'm much bigger than a lot of these players in League One. So I'm going to show my class. But with DemaraiGr, Saudi Pro League to the championship, it's not like at the Premier League him step up. It's not like at the Premier League DemaraiGr step up. It is the championship. And the player have good enough skill, have pace, the set piece, him have a very good strike with the ball. And I was really loving DemaraiGr in the first 5 months, 4 months of the championship last season. And I was thinking that, okay, all right, fine. Injured kind of rattle, your time on the pitch in the back end of 2025, but at least come back stronger 2026 in the second half of the campaign and show some right attitude on the pitch. It just never did it. It just never did it.
Yeah, I think it have to do with. I don't think it have to do with ability wise. I think it have to do with his mentally. I think mentally he's not there. Like he's just he get very lapsed very easy. You get what I'm saying? Because remember he took time off on football for a while and was going through some stuff off the field. So I think he's just one of those players where if everything is not good also off the field and at home, he's just not going to perform, and he tend to give up very easily. You get what I'm saying? Because look what's going on in the campaign with him and Jamaica and his club team, and he just came. Something tell me that he never was injured. He just decided, say, you know what, that's it for me. You feel what I'm saying? So I think he just give me he just give me that type of personality from him. You get what I'm saying? Like quick to give up. One thing what I always can say that we beat Bailey. I always say Bailey in a performance thing, but one thing I think Bailey have a strong mentality. I think Bailey will leave him sweat out there, because look at that last game, he played 90 minutes and he was always there. True, bad and good, Bailey is there. But I just don't get that from Demar. I think Demar is just a player that if when the rough get rough, he's just gonna give up. You get what I'm saying? And as I said early part in this video, I said he is a confident player. If he's not on it, he's not gonna be on it. If he's on it, he will be on it. That's the player he is. You get me? So I'm not surprised. Like coming off the bench today, have a brilliant game. I would not surprise the next match he's just give a below performance because I started to get used to him that this is just him consistently. 1 minute good, 1 minute below average. So not really expecting too much from him.
At his age, I just feel like those are the obstacles, even at least can overcome, those obstacles by now of, you know, embrace where he's at and find different ways and means to get himself over that hump. Yeah. Look, you're not going to have, if you're going to rely on just confidence, I think you're in problem as a player. There's time when we see the biggest players, on the world stage not having the best game, frustrated. But guess what? Them fight and fight and fight until at least them get that one moment and them snatch them team away into glory days. So it's just not just the confidence on the pitch. You're not go in life generally. You're not going to have the best of times. When you at school, doing end of year exams and stuff like that, you're going to have moments in that room where you're going to be frustrated with yourself. You are going to have a lot of disappointing thinking about yourself of, how can you break down, these multiple choice, how you can really get yourself on it more of knocking out these explanation questions more and then move on to the much easy questions where, you will find yourself have more access to access and challenge yourself and answer those questions. So I just think that certain players just find themselves in a comfort zone where they just thinks that okay, maybe it's not working. There's not too much fight putting out on that pitch, and it can show. If you're a player, if you're a player more so have experience of playing the game and see other the meaners around on that pitch, different characters of players, you will know who exactly is fighting and you will know who exactly really comfortable in their zone of just accept the challenge and say, okay, this is where it stop. Then, move on to the next day. Move on to the next match. How many times, we say US down and out in games, even against us. They are not having the best game. But guess what? They still continue to pursue until them get something out of the game. So there's that spirit where you need to drag out of your inability of allow yourself to go and tap in that space when things are not going the perfect way for you. So I just think, man, each one really have them comfort zone and their happiness, and I have no issue with that because your own career is in your destiny. And if he was a player that was getting that next level of his career, DemaraiGr maybe would have been in the Premier League or of a much bigger club than Birmingham at this moment. When he was leaving Saudi Arabia, how many clubs really wanted him? Yeah, you see Fulham link with the player that they might looking at his option, but there wasn't real connection of him getting any concrete rumors, evidence of this club really want you at that level.
Yeah.
So that tells you, and it is the same thing for Leon Bailey. You've been in the Premier League for the last 5 seasons or so, and things are not going the perfect way for you at Aston Villa. How much clubs will come in with concrete interest of saying, Aston Villa, tell me the price. Let's have a negotiation.
Yeah, I think for him, it's definitely gonna go down to the last day of the market. Just get rid of him. Just take anything at this point. And that's bad. As a player, you want to settle in. You want to get preseason because I don't think Bailey have time for waste. I
Yeah.
think he coming off a very blow below average season. You get what I'm saying? So I think for him, him and his agent should have definitely tried to get a move in, but I don't know. I just think these players, there's a lot going on with these players, man. Especially when it comes to Jamaica, and this is one of the reasons why we, as a football nation, we need consistency around the team, and we need players playing at a. We don't want we. I know we want our players to play in the Premier League and stuff, but I feel like League One, League Two, Championship. I would take. Say we don't have. I would take none of our players is playing in the Premier League, but we have players that are playing in the League One, League Two, and Championship, and they're playing consistent at a very good level and being playing every week and putting very good performance, because you're gonna see that when they come around the national team. But we have a lot of players in the Premier League, they're not getting a game. They're having club problems. Them in and out of the team. Look at Pinnock. What's going on with Pinnock? We don't know what's going on in Pinnock anymore. You get what I'm saying? Rico Henry. I watched that game today, and I don't see Rico Henry getting in that team. You get what I'm saying?
It's going to be tough.
So you guys see where I'm coming from. We have players in the Premier League, but guess what? They're not playing. They are not playing. You see me? So one or other, them then in the Premier League are now playing, sit on the bench, not even make the match day squad, or they in the Championship playing consistently, in the League One playing consistently, in the League Two playing consistently, in the MLS or in some type of Slovakia, Serbia league playing consistently. One or other.
But I think that probably go for certain profile of player. I think that maybe go for certain profile of player. I'm not sure at this stage, we will see a Bailey in the Championship. I'm not sure. I'm not saying he's bigger than the Championship, but ego driven. Look at your career. Look at the yards that you put in. I don't think he will look at his players. Look at himself as a Championship player. So I think that might go for certain player. Even if you're looking at it where Mason Clark go on to play 85% of the games that Coventry play in the Premier League at this campaign, and have a very good run, just like close to his goal contribution where it was close to 20 in the Championship. If you can bring that pedigree into the Premier League, I believe that with him sign for another team, if Coventry get relegated, right? I strongly believe that he will not look at himself anymore as a Championship player. So I think that probably can go to a certain players with certain quality, that you think that okay, coming from that level and play majority of your career down in that level, then maybe that is your lane. But for a player like probably Mason Clark, who is in his best time of his life now, I'm not sure if he will look beyond the Premier League into the Championship. If things doesn't work out for Coventry, he will probably look for an option away from Coventry and stay put in the Premier League, especially if him have the numbers and very good performance. So yeah, I think that will speak for different players, different characters, different quality as well. But for the players, I'm like Akarai, moving from the Championship to League One, Casey, these players have never been like a Premier League standard players.
Yeah.
For the last 5 years, I've never been a Premier League standard. So they will look at themselves, all right, okay, it's fine if I take a step back in my career to get some game time, to get more minutes on the pitch and get better numbers and then better myself as a player, and then again graduate and move to the next level. So I just think that will speak for those players that play majority of their their career games in the EFL permit. You get what I'm saying? So let me run through a few of these comments. I read the Dixon one where you guys were very
this guy Tesla, you know him?
No, I don't know who's Tears.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. I mean, he is a supporter of the channel, but I don't know like personally. I never like had a conversation. But you can't really the comments will have their opinion.
No,
Yeah.
me not really caught in comments.
Jamaica needs EPL players, the same players, them not going anywhere. Again, he's talking probably about Daniel and the championship things right there. You're not making much man, much retract that statement. Campbell was the best and only threat away against Curacao, which was the hardest match. I don't remember where he was coming from
No,
with that.
nobody not doing that much. Yeah. So I don't know where.
USA and Mexico and Canada use championship and League One and League Two players. Where Jamaica going? Teals. Are you trying to say US and Mexico and Canada use championship and League One and League Two players? Where Jamaica is? Where Jamaica going? Yes, I try understand. Me I try understand a comment here. Yeah, US use championship players. Can't remember when last them use a League One players. Can't remember when last, but them use championship player. But I can't remember when them use. I don't know about Mexico. When last, I have
I don't
not
remember
really. I don't remember Mexico play, have a.
in a championship.
Yeah, I don't remember of Mexico having a championship player. Probably there's a mistake there with these comments. Even England in a struggle against Mexico and they have Saka. Yeah, you're right. You're right, but it shows that look, Ronnie, I understand what you say, but quite a few times we go down in Mexico, in the Azteca, and we were very close. You remember that game? I think that we draw 2-2. I think it was Boza and Bobby Reed scored in that game. And I think Ravel gave away a penalty when we were almost 2-1 up in the game. Yeah. We were very close. So maybe at that point in that game, yeah, maybe England couldn't get the fine tune out of that Mexico team. That was a World Cup game. More was at stake. It was a more better team, more quality players on the pitch. So Mexico will come out more of one to prove that listen, they can go to the next level in the World Cup. So maybe it was just that standard in the World Cup for them, but maybe around playing Jamaica and the rest of the teams in this region,
Yeah.
maybe it will be a different show. And at times, these teams sometimes don't play their A team. They kind of mixed up a bit. I don't know what is going on with these teams in the CONCACAF region. Yamal, etc. are playing. I think that is a fighting comments there around different players. DemaraiGr allegedly didn't want to turn up if he's not starting. Players like him shouldn't be representing the national team. I 100% agree with you, BM, as well. And I heard the sentiment shared around different members about the DemaraiGr. Oh, you're not talking about Whisper too. I mean, Whisper, I think we have talked so much, around Dujan Whisper, when it comes on to stuff like Tyreece Campbell. Look, Tyreece Campbell should be ahead of even of Dujan Whisper Richards. You get what I'm saying? If you combine Whisper youth games, Dixon youth games, it still can combine the experience and the appearances that Campbell have at the senior level. So him put in the extra yards, and he's a player that been around the blocks for the last 3 to 5 campaigns now at the senior level. So him understand different optics around senior football, especially playing at the club level, which they tend to struggle, where he tend to have success, a little bit success than them. So I think Dixon will be the same as Kahim, maybe this point, should be behind of that player in terms of selection. I think the JFF needs to recruit Anthony at Brentford. I think he is a very good player. Cephas and Dixon scoring double digits goal. Yeah. I think Dixon might go on to have a very good season this campaign as well. Cephas probably as well. Hopefully, his team can win their next game or get a positive result versus FC20 in the Europe qualification run as well. Grade 1 EPL with Leicester. Not many players can say that. Yes, he was on a team. Yeah, he was on a team and they won it and he played games. But I'm saying that doesn't make you want to do the next extra yards or get to that next level within yourself to challenge your potential and break the barrier of you going into the next level. All right, quite a few players in that Leicester team went on and have a very good career. While drink water, got Chelsea got drink too much water till him belly bust, him retire. You get what I say about the Mahrez, the Kante, even the captain, where's Morgan? Continue to play in the Premier League. You get what I'm saying? Schmeichel. So a lot of those players went on to have very good career after that Leicester triumph. But what would be the case with DemaraiGr? I mean, I don't know if we can speak the same. He's a player who really want to play for the good, but him just continue to disappoint at the crucial junction of his career when he needs to step up at that time to give his team an extra boost at that level. Look how the man come and perform for us over the last 2 years like him not even trying. So the commitment seems like it wasn't there. Jamaica, needs to recruit only EPL and top level championship baller. I will agree with that. But at this time, Jamaica now produce them baller. They are not producing them baller. It's like certain players that them go recruit when them playing in the championship. It's like they will have a breakout here, get a new club or get a new deal, then you just find them just falling right down the pecking order of getting, contracts at very good clubs. So I don't know, man. You know who scored that second goal for Real Madrid?
The young youth, 19, number 9.
It's me.
Yeah. Look a striker you tell them by.
Yeah. So DemaraiGr, like most Jamaican players, very average. Notice nobody hype these players at the club level, only Jamaican. Yeah. And I'm not really even hyping up DemaraiGr. I'm just the player of this expectation. He was a very good player. Yeah. He was a very good prospect at one point in English football. Look when his time came to an end at Leicester City. Yeah. Quite a few, interest was there from Premier League clubs. Everton snatched him up, but it just never continued. And from there, he decided that he wanted to go to Saudi Arabia with Steven Gerrard. Allgate was at Everton too. I think he is in Qatar. No, I don't even know where these players. I don't even know what the hell from Allgate got Qatar. Allgate can't put not even double digits in appearances in a campaign for himself. I don't know. And he played for 2 different clubs already and it just not working out. Jamaica must start chasing Omar Hudson to Jaden. Tails, to be honest, I don't know if he was talking about this in previous live, but chasing these players, it should not happen at the international level. These players, you can go and knock on the door and ask for their service. If they said no, that's no.
That's it.
That's it.
Not a club.
Yeah.
Club transfer. Yeah.
There was hype around Gray when he was younger, but he seems to not to live up to the hype. Yeah, there was hype around him. He played, I think, a few 121 games. He was a promising young English winger. Excited, especially started out at Birmingham City. You get what I'm saying? Jamaica can't compete with below average players as well. It's not just sometimes the average, but we have quite a few average players that really need to get removed around from the selection of not be that main starter in the national team. But I believe that if you have a very good system for the team, I think that even with lesser quality player than the US and Mexico, you can have a bit of a success. And we are not asking the JFF, and we are not really asking a coach to come in and win back-to-back Gold Cup, but we are asking, can you do the job like what Thomas Christiansen is doing at Panama? Compete, keep knocking on the door, go to finals. At some given point, if you continue that success down that road with a little bit of a consistency, in a 10-year period, 15-year period, you just continue, there's going to be that breaking point where at least you're going to have at least one success or a silverware in the cabinet of saying that, listen, win an international tournament. You get what I say? The biggest player is not having the biggest game only in Jamaica jersey. This Jamaica is a curse. You know, top to the bottom, I think Jamaica might have more talent than Cape Verde, but Cape Verde play to their strength, and that's very good. That's very good. That's very good of them. Dan, go and talk about Chelsea because you don't have a clue about football, said Tears. Quality matters to compete. Yes, and those Panamanian players would have at least some quality about them, to compete. But they need help. Player with lesser quality, going to need help from the higher quality players and the coaching staff to help them around that as well in their game of enhance around a better quality players. Whether Leon Bailey wants to accept it or not, EPL quality, he is at the championship level or MLS at best. Yeah, strong point there. Strong point. I believe if him can, I think if him can fix him physicality and him fitness level, and really want to knock some lead up on the picture, I believe that him can play a part, with a Premier League club. But if you're going to continue to play 1/4, 1/3 of games in the Premier League, then clubs just not going to look at you as that player. Yeah, they're just not going to look at you as that player. You get what I say? So it's all about your availability on the pitch. Yeah, it's all about your availability on the pitch for each clubs in the Premier League. If you're not getting up to that 60% mark of being available, 670, then it's going to be very difficult, especially if you're not an English born, especially if you're not that high level top end quality player. I bet you the day when Mason Mount may be going to leave Manchester United, maybe there want to be Premier League clubs that are going to take him. That's just the nature of the game. You get what I say? So Daniel, so we want to close out the last 10 minutes. Around this show as well. We're going to close out the last 10 minutes. Talk about the five fixtures that happened in the Premier League. Today as well. The big one. Was the early game, lunchtime kickoff in England. Hull City. Versus United. Very much came at a surprise for a lot of the fans. Around Premier League who support United, but where you think Hull City really get it right, because a lot of people focus on the optics of what United didn't do right, but what are some of the stuff that you really see this Hull City team knock United out of the park of getting those 2 goals and then close out the shop?
I think all City was just fit. I think they were just much fitter, much prepared. I think they're up for it. It's not easy to go away to a team that's promoted and playing away to them. I think early kickoff as well. That play in the hands of all City. And they just catch United very cool. I think they have a game plan, get the ball out wide, put the ball in the box with the left back and the right back, and they would just never give United midfield any time on the ball. I think Bruno Fernandes was just couldn't get in the game. I think he got outplayed in the first half, and so I think that United just. I told you, I just never. I think the combination with the players, I think maybe with Baleba coming, give a little different idea. But I think Talisman, Santos, and also Meno are three similar players. They're not quick on the feet. They're very technical. They're very tidy, but I don't think physically and tracking back players, running back towards their goal, I don't think they want to do that. So I think that's where United really need to get that Baleba deal in as quick as possible, because I think United will definitely struggle. But kudos to Hull City, because a lot of people predict them to go down, like one of the team favorites to go down. I know it's still a long way to go, but they really, really impressed me today. Really defensively, and I know what I really was impressed with their goalkeeper. He was
Yeah,
so confident, like he never looked once. I know they just signed him. He looked so confident. I was really impressed. And Matt Burney, Jesus, yeah, he
Yeah,
was
yeah,
so
yeah, yeah,
good. Whole up play like
yeah.
he was running rings around Tillingsman today. So it was an all-round performance from Hull City. Manchester United have to get better because they're gonna have a lots of football this season, including Champions League, Quarterback Cup, FA Cup, and
I
the squad is
yeah,
very thin. This squad is
yeah.
very thin for United.
I strongly, but one point before I go, further into the conversation with United, I think with McAlburney with him, play that one little season, in Las Palmas in La Liga. I think it kind of help him game. I
Look a
think
little
it
bit
kind of,
more.
yeah, I think it kind of help him game a little bit, and I think he's a very good player. He was the star man for them, of helping them get promoted. I think he scored close to around 20 championship goals as well. But I believe that look, the personnels, on the pitch for United, I think it was wrong. I think it was totally wrong. I'm not seeing Harry Maguire as a United defender. I'm not seeing it. I think he has passed his best. Yes, even is a hopefully maybe he's a upcoming youngster that will rise and grow into himself and be that player that he can serve United for the next 10 years from now. But I believe that to be honest, you need to look at the combination of how much Euro and Evan played throughout preseason. I think maybe you have to go with that flow. They had a lot of partnership, in the preseason segment, yeah, playing against other teams. But I believe the midfield, it was so soft, it was so timid of putting your body on the line. And if you look over the years of Manchester United, they have always have that one midfielder in certain games that they're going to they're going to break people. They're going to actually break up plays. They're going to challenge. Yeah, they're going to bring the physicality in the midfield, and I believe that they should have made that, especially if a player like Carrick, who been into so many, United squads in so many campaigns, knows that United need a player like a Declan Rice. A player that so brutal that players don't want to play against because he's just not going to stop running. You're just going to do the extra yards, dirty work, the things that players don't want to do. That they shun them body away from. And I believe that Andre Santos was that player to do it, but he's not that player. You can't ask for that.
Never
And
was that.
when it's not clicking for Bruno, it's just not going to click and it's just going to look ugly. He is not the most clever in tidiness player. Yeah, he can be very good by creating moments and opportunity for players, but he have never really been that clever, tidy player on the ball. So when it's ugly on his day, it's look really terrible. You get what I mean? I say, and also getting beat out, in set piece. Rule number one, coming up against newly promoted teams, set piece always be the key. The second ball is always be the key. And they have this backline for the last quite a few seasons. Yeah, so many.
2022.
Delic, Martinez, they cannot stay fit. So you never really have a good combination play. There's no marquee defender in United team. I'm sorry, but Lisandro Martinez on his day when he's fit, he's a very good player. But can you rely on him? You cannot. And this is why the Casemiro absence is very big because look, in a defensive box, Casemiro always turn up. He have always been there, getting the first header on the ball when it's set piece. In the attacking box, it's another way of he always get himself in around some way to get the ball in the back of the net.
Yeah.
You get me? I say? So
He's
he is
really
that
good.
two-way player, and also he kind of unlock that next side of where Kobe Mainu would have a little bit of a freedom, where he not too much have to depend on the destructive part of the game. So
Yeah.
I believe the midfield need to make a lot of adjustment. How will he fit in all these pieces when Tilleman, I'm looking at it, will be a player that Carrick see close to himself, so he always going to get the game. How will you fit in Baleba and Meno and Tillemans together? The all three cannot play together. Where Bruno is going to play, and also
Santos. You didn't
if
mention Santos.
so I mean Santos is not that player that's going to play and start 4 to 5 games for United.
You
He's
don't
going
think?
to have to. Nah, I'm not. No, I said
After
play
spending
and
50
no
million?
start 4 to 5 games for United. He's not that player as ready as yet. I think Kobe Manu, with what he did of that big success under Carrick, how he didn't feature in the game from the start. That is a question sign there as well. You get what I say? And if
Yeah.
you look at the wingers, it wasn't good enough. It wasn't good enough. I think Rashford gave Benjamin Sesko a sitter on his head. He mistimed it. I think a ball was played through the middle, for Mbuemo, and he hit that one with his right foot. The keeper saved it as well. You get what I say? So there was quite a few opportunities. I remember even I think it was a 75 minute. The commentator said United have 35 touches in the box, and All City only have 10 touches with 2 goals. So it tells you, man, work needs to be done. But I believe that this not going to define United season, but they have a lot of problem to solve. They have a lot of problem to solve from now until the end of the season. You get what I say? But what happened? What happened at GTEC Stadium? What happened? Over 300 million spent already in the summer transfer window. I knew this was going to happen. Look, Brentford is a tough team to go on the opening day.
The worst team to play. I think did you know that Brentford in last season Brentford outrun 90% of the team last
Yeah,
season.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That is
So,
a part of their DNA.
so going there cold is one of the worst things to do. And I think Tottenham will be good. I think they still gonna add more pieces, but I think it's not surprise to me that Brentford beat them. I think what GTEC is one of the worst going to go in the first time. They did it to United, they did it to Arsenal when they just came in the league. So it's not surprise. I think that's just Brentford. They play a lot of fast pace attacking football. They're good with set piece. They can hurt you at anywhere given on that field. So not surprised. Yeah. But Tottenham on another hand, they're gonna have to get it together
I
because
think it was very soft. I think the midfield was very soft. I think that player that they signed from the French league, Sangari, what a beautiful player. What a beautiful player. I think the coach that is coaching Palace, he used to coach him as well in the French league. What a magnificent play in terms of the running, the physicality, the extra yards of getting your foot stuck in. You get what I mean? I say, put your body on the line. That is just the DNA at the GTEC Stadium. That is just the
also,
DNA.
I'm glad you mentioned that. I'm glad you mentioned that. I think buying players from French league really suit the Premier League, like the physical back and forth. I think it really suit the player. Like you realize that when you're buying players from Germany, it never really always work out for teams. But anytime you see the Premier League team go in the French market, it
Yeah.
always work out for a lot of teams.
Yeah, I think it worked out for the lower tier teams in the Premier League. I think it works very well. Getting those hungry young French players into the Premier League, playing for the Palace, playing for the Bournemouth. I think it will be a lot beneficial, to those clubs more from buying the high profile players in the French league, who have that ego with them. But if you get them from 20, 21, I think it can be very good. Look, Dango Utara, he is a very good player. He was a very good player, even for Bournemouth. You get what I say? So I think they're very clever in the transfer market. But I see Spurs will do better than last 2 campaigns. I believe under Roberto De Zerbi, it can be a lot chaotic, just like Antonio Conte, a similar profile player, profile of coach. But I just see him the long run, he will get the better, on this Tottenham team than what people are really expecting from them. They might not be a top 6 finishing team this campaign, but I see them challenge very deeply, to finish in one of those European spots if they can nail down all the transfers. But they need players in the top end. They need players in the top end. Yet they need a goal scorer. They need a winger like Savino. They need a player like Marmoush. There's someone that's over high for goal, outside of the 18, inside of the 18. He can bring that cameo right around the edge of the box where any moment, he can produce, goals, for. I just think they need that player that can play out of the box. He's not too predictable. He's unpredictable with way how he navigate himself on the pitch. And I think with those players, with Madison, will be fit, very soon as well, get back into his sharpness. I think that will help him as well of getting players that's running and stretching that back line. And he will find space. He's a very good creative player. I think probably lost a bit of a yards, there and there because of injury. But I'm not doubting Roberto De Zerbi of not getting the best out of this Spurs team. To be honest, I see him as a very good coach. You get what I say? There's one particular game, the Ipswich game, yeah, where I think Jay Clark, scored the winning goal against his former team, Sunderland. I was very surprised that Ipswich, got that win. But my goodness, man, the Ecuadorian player, Angulo, what a free kick! It's just the way how his standing leg really curve. Yeah, when his standing leg stand up and place right beside that ball, it's just the way how his body reflex around and he's wrap him foot. I mean, it's been a long time. I'm say a free kick, hit so well. You get what I say? But I mean, Ipswich, New Boys 1, Hull City 1. I mean, where you stand, with them again, going back down under Gary O'Neill?
I think they look a little bit different. I think they beat one of the most informed team from last season, Sutherland. So I think Ipswich they do look like they have something a little bit more different about them. That they could learn from what they did in the previous season that they came in and they went up. And also they have a lot more Premier League experience. I feel like in the last campaign they didn't have a lot of Premier League. Diop in the back, they have Encinso, they have Nunes. You get me? So I think they do have a lot more experience in the team this time around. And Martin, don't forget Gary O'Neill. He's an experienced coach. Work at Bournemouth, work at the Wolves, so he does know what to expect in the Premier League. He knows it's not gonna end right here. There's gonna be bad days that's gonna come when they can't get any 3 points. So winning at their first game of the season is massive for them because they don't know when if this is gonna be something where they can, but they play United next in the next game at Old Trafford,
Yeah.
and that's gonna be a game that United definitely gonna want to win. So we'll see.
Daniel Faulkner, won his first game, beating Leeds, beating Oliver Glasner, Nottingham Forest at the City Ground as well. That was a very much surprising one for me. Late goal by Stack, a player that always trump up with some very important goals, for Leeds last campaign whenever he's fit. I think he's an important player. But again, Leeds, massive team, getting the bounce back-to-back campaign in the Premier League. I think this season their fans should probably expect a better. I saw them linking with Miliko Modric as well. I'm not sure if that one will go through as well, but I mean they have quite a few good players that they had. Trafford is in between the stick, but big challenge. This Nottingham Forest team, it's a huge dressing room. It's a big dressing room, to walk into with the egos, in that team. The egos, above, who are managing this team as well. So I think with someone that who wants to have him way, who have a bit of a control in first part of with Crystal Palace, with Parish the ownership, but no, with this Greek freak, controlling Nottingham Forest. I'm not sure how much of a control Oliver Glasner will have, but good coach, but bad result in the first game, and it's not good. It's just not good. Everton, getting the best as well at home. Everton play Crystal Palace. Barry, with a goal, Drewsbury all. But Everton has been this team where when they first moved into this L. Dickinson Stadium, it was they lost more games in that stadium than what they win. But David Moyes came in that campaign last season and really started to change the whole complex of moving from Goodison Park into a brand new stadium. But it's just the way how this man done it over the years and continue to do it. Just getting the best out of Everton. And you're wondering if how the ownership of Everton will back him in the transfer window, because with David Moyes, his teams will always be that safe guard team that will be right up into the midway segment of the table or close to European football. But there's no other manager, to manage this football club but David Moyes.
Yeah, and they have to be very careful and be careful what they wish for. Look at Everton. I think David Moyes was having that ship
West
sail.
Ham. That was West Ham.
Yeah, West Ham. I mean, was
Yeah.
having that ship sailing good, and look what they had. They are in the championship. So I think Everton have to be very careful. I know they want to play this expansive football, exciting. They want to get in Europe, but I think David Moyes is the guy to get him in the Europe. So I don't know if they kind of give him a little control. They brought in Tyreece George. I think Tyreece George is a very experienced, very exciting player.
Yeah.
They're able to. And one thing I realized with Everton this summer too, they're able to hold on to their good players.
Yeah.
You get me, Gisbert. So they're able to hold on to their better players. So I think Everton should definitely try to push for a European spot this season, Conference League, Europa League. So I think definitely definitely should be up there for Europa spot, but because I think David Moyes, I think he's one of those pioneer from Fergie, Jose Mourinho.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
still there,
Yeah.
still there doing his thing. So
Yeah.
Everton, it's gonna be a very very good season for them. Good win for them today.
Yeah, I think new signing of Brennan Johnson. I think that's a very good one, as well. I think they get the better deal, that swap deal as well. But I still believe that they need that vocal point up front. You remember
You know, Ray Barry.
Barry's young. He's going to have his downtime in the Premier League. I think he's still learning. Yeah, I think he's getting better under David Moyes. But when you talk about a player like Yakubu, a player like Lukaku, the Team Cahill, these players, have that vocal point up front. They will get the best out of the players that's playing behind of them. You get what I say? So I just feel like a very good striker that will hit, 10, 15 goals in the Premier League for them, that will help them massively. And I think with them, I just think they just need to keep their best players fit. I think Brathwaite, he needs to stay fit. I think they probably going to need some better, proper wing backs in the future, to be honest. Not see how much these players can continue to play, for David Moyes in the Premier and continue at that high level. So I just think with a few investment in the defensive area and the top end of getting that ideal striker, maybe a season from now or two, maybe Barry, will develop. Maybe he will get better and be that ideal striker, that number 9 that will get them the goals. But seeing something as well that Fiorentina need better, to go back into the Italian Serie A. I think once was a player at Udinese as well. So I think they need that vocal point and better. I just think he's not good enough. I just think he's just not good enough. You get what I say? So there's two questions that there's in the comment that I really want you to answer. Tyler Adams and Pulisic went from Germany to England, and also you can answer that one. You think you're talking about players from Germany coming to the Premier League?
Yeah, but I wouldn't say those players are successful. I know Pulisic won the Champions League with Chelsea, but I think he have a decent spell. I wouldn't say it was successful. I know Tyler Adams is still at Bournemouth. He's at a good level.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't classify those players as a hit. Like, I would say they're playing at a good level and they're doing a decent job. But I wanna, like how who you want to call a hit, like who was a really good signing.
Yeah.
Bobby Firmino for Liverpool that came from the German league. You get what
Yeah.
I'm saying? I think Kevin De Bruyne that came from the German league.
Yeah.
So when I'm talking about hit players, I'm talking about those players that hit the heights. You get what I'm saying? Um, even Sadio Mane. Sadio Mane at one point was in the Bundesliga. You get what I'm saying? Some could say Havertz. Havertz is doing a very good job at
Yeah.
Arsenal. So they have players, but I feel like there's a lot more miss than hit in the Premier League from
Yeah.
Germany.
Yeah. I think Rockstar James. I think someone called his name earlier. The Lisby brothers. Yeah, the Lisby brothers as well. Getting that move. I think coming from what Colchester. So there's stepping up in the player career at this moment, but people much love and respect. It's been what 2 hour, yeah, we're there. So the next time, we'll do a live again. Will be next week somewhere around this time, doing reaction to the players in the EFL as well, and a bit of a Premier League talk and stuff like that. So the next time with the live, we're going to get the communication more where you guys can interact, actually be coming through audio or on the phone as well. So I'm going to set up those stuff. So much love and respect to the ones that was here. Really appreciate it. If you haven't subscribed or like up the video, please do so as well. We're there again. See you guys until next time, around this same time.